In 1841, atop Enchanted Rock, a sacred native site in Texas, a Comanche warrior, face painted black, buffalo head cap adorned, grips a bow in his left hand, astride a swift stallion. Below, Texas Ranger Jack Hayes, in a dusty coat, clutching a Colt-Patterson revolver in his right hand, stands alone against 20 Comanche fighters. The Comanche, masters of the plains with 10,000 horses, defend their land, as historian S.C. Gwynn notes, with unmatched ferocity. Yet Hayes, with only 11 shots, defies death. Did his stand, costing 3 Comanche lives, mark him as a hero or a trespasser on native soil? Enchanted Rock, a massive limestone monolith rising 425 feet above the Texas hill country near Fredericksburg, stands as a sacred sentinel for native tribes. For centuries, the Comanche, Tonkawa, and Apache have revered it as a spiritual nexus, believing it harbors the restless souls of slain warriors and disgraced chiefs Terriers de Mantenimiento. Historian T.R. Fehrenbach, in Comanches, The History of a People, describes it as a place of power where the veil between worlds thins. Tribes conducted rituals, possibly sacrifices, at its base, and any outsider venturing near its slopes risked swift retribution. In 1841, its sanctity remains unchallenged. Fact surveyors from the Republic of Texas, 95 miles west of Austin, ignore at their peril. The rock's imposing presence, covering 640 acres, looms over the landscape, a silent warning to those who dare encroach on Comanche land. Trespassers near Enchanted Rock face unrelenting hostility, a grim reality rooted in the site's spiritual weight. The Comanche, who claim the surrounding plains, view interlopers as desecrators of their sacred ground. Fehrenbach notes that, to the Comanche, land was not property but life itself, and Enchanted Rock embodies this belief. In the 1830s, Apache oral traditions, recorded by anthropologist Morris Opler, recount warriors vanishing after climbing the rock, attributed to vengeful spirits. By 1841, the Comanche guard it with lethal vigilance, their scouts patrolling the oak-strewn hills. A single misstep by a surveyor, perhaps a snapped twig or a misplaced boot print, could summon 20 warriors within minutes, their arrows poised to punish the intrusion. In 1841, the fledgling Republic of Texas, barely 5 years old, dispatches survey teams to map its vast, contested frontier. These men, tasked with measuring land grants 95 miles west of Austin, carry steel ribbons and logbooks to carve order from chaos. The Republic, struggling with a population of just 70,000 and a treasury drained by war, relies on land sales to survive, as historian David Levere explains in The Texas Indians. Each survey team, typically 15 to 20 men, must cover 1,000 acres daily, a bureaucratic necessity that masks a brutal truth. They are staking claims on soil soaked in blood. The Fredericksburg region, with its fertile valleys and clear streams, tempts settlers, but it lies deep in Comanche territory, a fact no map can erase. Surveying in 1841, Texas ranks among the deadliest professions, not for the act of measuring land, but for the land itself. The Texas frontier, stretching 600 miles from the Rio Grande to the Red River, is a battleground where Comanche warriors reign supreme. Historian Pekka Hämäläinen, in the Comanche Empire, estimates that Comanche raids killed 1,000 settlers and natives annually in the 1830s and 1840s. Surveyors, unarmed save for rifles and revolvers, face odds grimmer than soldiers in war. A team of 20 might encounter 50 Comanche on horseback, each warrior wielding a 3-foot bow capable of loosing 20 arrows per minute. To step onto Comanche land is to court death, yet the Republic's hunger for expansion drives men forward. The Comanche, who call themselves numero, meaning the people, inspire dread across North America. Their rivals Apache, Tonkawa, Waco, and Tawankani know them as a force unmatched in ferocity. By 1841, their reputation echoes from Denver's saloons to Mexico City's halls, where, as Hämäläinen notes, the Comanche name silenced conversations, numbering 20,000 at their peak. With 8,000 warriors, they dominate a 240,000 square mile empire across Texas and Oklahoma. Unlike other tribes, they lack a central chief. Leadership emerges through prowess, not lineage. Their egalitarian structure, Fehrenbach argues, fuels their adaptability, making them a relentless adversary to any who challenge their dominion. The name Comanche stems from a Ute phrase, Comanche, meaning those who fight us all the time, a fitting tribute to their martial legacy. Linguist Daniel Galo, in Comanche Vocabulary, traces this term to the 1700s, when Ute traders clashed with Comanche bands in Colorado. By 1841, the name carries a weight of terror, synonymous with midnight raids and vanished settlements. The Comanche's enemies, including 5,000 Apache in Texas, suffer relentless attacks, with entire villages razed. This etymology, born of conflict, underscores a truth. The Comanche thrive on opposition, their identity forged in the crucible of perpetual war. Once a humble offshoot of the Shoshone, the Comanche faced expulsion from the Rocky Mountains in the 1600s, driven south by stronger tribes like the Arapaho and Cheyenne. Fehrenbach describes their early plight. They were a small band, perhaps 2,000, scraping survival in a harsh land. The Rockies' granite peaks and aspen forests offered little sustenance, forcing them to roam 500 miles to the plains of Texas and Oklahoma. By 1700, they reached the Llano Estacado, a 37,000 square mile expanse of grass and buffalo. This migration, Hämäläinen argues, was not defeat but destiny, setting the stage for their transformation into a dominant power. In the Rockies, the Comanche endured a grueling existence as hunter-gatherers, scouring barren slopes for roots, berries, and carrion. Winters, with temperatures plunging to -20 degrees Fahrenheit, claimed lives as bands of 50 huddled in makeshift shelters. Laverre notes that their diet yielded barely 1,500 calories daily, far below survival needs. Women spent 10 hours foraging, while men hunted elusive deer with stone-tipped spears. By the 1600s, rival tribes armed with better tools pushed them out, leaving the Comanche no choice but to flee. This hardship, Fehrenbach writes, tempered their spirit, planting seeds of resilience that would bloom on the plains. The arrival of Spanish horses in the 16th century reshapes Comanche destiny. By 1600, Spanish colonists in New Mexico, 200 miles from Texas, bring Dick's zero horse, as documented by historian Andrés Reséndez. The Comanche, through raids and trade, acquire their first mounts by 1650. A single horse, capable of covering 30 miles daily, transforms their mobility. Hämäläinen calls this a revolution in motion, as hunters now track buffalo herds across 100 miles in days, not weeks. By 1700, every Comanche warrior owns at least 2 horses, a wealth unimaginable in their Rocky Mountain past. The Spanish, wary of native power, guard horsemanship secrets with zeal, knowing a mounted enemy could topple their empire. Reséndez notes that in 1600, Spanish law banned natives from riding, with violators facing 100 lashes. Yet, raids, escaped native servants, and trade erode this control. By 1700, 2,000 horses reach Comanche hands through Apache intermediaries, as Laverre details. The Comanche master breeding, training 5,000 foals annually by 1750. This defiance of Spanish restraint, Hämäläinen argues, armed the Comanche with speed and power, setting them on a path to dominate the southern plains. The Apache, not the Comanche, first bring horses to the Texas frontier in the early 1600s, a pivotal moment in the region's history. Historian David Levere, in The Texas Indians, notes that by 1620, Apache bands, numbering around 10,000, acquire 3,000 horses through raids on Spanish settlements in New Mexico. These horses, capable of carrying a rider 25 miles in a day, allow the Apache to dominate trade routes across 200 miles of plains. Yet the Comanche, arriving later, surpassed them with a profound connection to the animals. Historian Pekka Hämäläinen, in the Comanche Empire, describes this bond as almost spiritual, enabling the Comanche to outmaneuver the Apache. By 1700, the Comanche's 2,000 horses double Apache numbers, shifting power dynamics and sparking conflicts that displace 5,000 Apache from Texas by 1750. Within decades, Comanche horsemanship reaches unparalleled heights, rivaling the finest cavalry in the world. By 1750, their warriors, trained from childhood, can ride at 30 miles per hour, firing 15 arrows per minute from a 3-foot bow, as T.R. Fehrenbach details in Comanches, The History of a People. This skill transforms their society, with 8,000 warriors hunting buffalo across 100-mile ranges in mere days. Hämäläinen estimates that a single Comanche band of 50 could kill 200 buffalo annually, yielding 40,000 pounds of meat. This abundance supports a population growth to 20,000 by 1800, a stark contrast to their 2,000-strong band in the 1600s. Their mastery, Fehrenbach argues, made them lords of the plains, a force no European army could match. By 1841, the Comanche amass vast horse herds, cementing their status as North America's wealthiest tribe in equine wealth. Hämäläinen records that their 20,000 members own 100,000 horses, with each warrior possessing 5 to 10 mounts. A single horse, valued at $50 in 1840s Texas, equates to a tribal wealth of $5 million, dwarfing the Republic of Texas's $1 million treasury. This wealth fuels mobility, with bands traveling 500 miles in weeks to raid or trade. Levere notes that Comanche horse breeding techniques, producing 5,000 foals yearly, ensure a steady supply. Their economic dominance, Hämäläinen asserts, reshaped the southern plains, making them a formidable barrier to colonial expansion. Once prey to stronger tribes in the Rockies, the Comanche transform into a raiding juggernaut by 1800, halting colonial ambitions across the continent. Fehrenbach writes, "They drove the Apache from Texas, cowed the Spanish, and defied the Americans. By 1841, their raids span 1,000 miles, from Denver to Mexico City, targeting 200 settlements annually. Hämäläinen estimates they kill 1,500 enemies yearly, including 500 Apache and 300 settlers, while capturing 2,000 horses and 1,000 captives. Smaller tribes, like the 800-strong Tawankani, vanish entirely under Comanche pressure. Their dominance, Levere argues, stems from a relentless will to survive, forged in their early struggles. Comanche warfare, stark and brutal, prioritizes efficiency over ceremony, a chilling hallmark of their power. Unlike other tribes with rigid hierarchies, Comanche war chiefs, often commanding 50 warriors, rise through charisma and success, as Fehrenbach explains. A raid, planned in a single night, could strike 100 miles away, with warriors covering 40 miles daily on horseback. Hämäläinen notes that by 1848, Nolla warriors execute 300 raids yearly, each claiming Kymmenen lives on average. This pragmatism, devoid of formal ranks, allows rapid adaptation, making them unpredictable. Fehrenbach warns, to face a Comanche war party was to face death itself. A reality settlers learned too late. Comanche warriors, cloaked in terror, paint their faces black, a grim symbol of death, and dawn caps crafted from fox, crane, or buffalo heads. Fehrenbach describes this attire as functional, not ornamental, designed to blend into the night during raids. By 1841, 90% of warriors, roughly 7,200, forego feathered headdresses, favoring mobility over tradition. A buffalo head cap, weighing 2 pounds, shields the wearer while signaling ferocity. Hämäläinen records that warriors carry 4-foot lances and 3-foot bows, each capable of piercing a man at 50 yards. This stark appearance, Lever notes, struck fear into hearts, amplifying their psychological edge in battle. Raids under full moons, known as Comanche moons, cast a pall of dread across Texas, their timing precise and devastating. Fehrenbach explains that moonlight allows warriors to ride 50 miles overnight, striking at dawn. In 1841 Hämäläinen estimates 200 full moon raids, each targeting isolated farms or villages, kill 800 settlers and natives. A single raid involving 30 warriors could destroy a settlement of 20 in 10 minutes, leaving only ash. Lever cites settler accounts of sleepless nights under the moon, as families bar doors against the unseen threat. This tactic, Fehrenbach argues, made the Comanche a specter of the night, inescapable and relentless. Comanche attacks leave a trail of ruin, reducing families to memories in moments. A typical raid Hämäläinen details says 40 warriors burn 15 homes, kill 30 people, and steal 100 horses in 20 minutes. By 1841, 1,000 such attacks annually claim 3,000 lives across Texas, with 500 farms destroyed. Fehrenbach recounts survivor tales of blood-soaked earth and smoldering ruins, a testament to Comanche speed and savagery. Women and children, often spared death, face captivity, with 1,500 taken yearly. Lever emphasizes, this was not mindless violence, but a defense of their world, a desperate bid to halt encroachment. Surveyors, symbols of white expansion, draw the Comanche's fiercest wrath, their fate often worse than death. Hämäläinen estimates that of 500 surveyors, in 1841, 200 face attacks, with 100 killed or captured. Captives endure tortures, including flaying or burning, as Fehrenbach grimly notes, to send a message to Austin. A survey team of 15, carrying 1,000 feet of steel ribbon, might face 50 warriors, each loosing 20 arrows per minute. Lever cites a 1840 report of a team torn apart in hours, their maps left for vultures. The Comanche's hatred, Hämäläinen argues, burned hottest for those who measured their land. Despite Texas's bold claims of sovereignty, the Comanche reign as the true lords of the hill country, their authority unchallenged. Hämäläinen records that in 1841, their 240, 0 square mile domain dwarfs Texas 70, 0 square mile republic. Their scouts, 2,000 strong, patrol 500 miles of frontier, spotting intruders within hours. Fehrenbach notes that no settler slept soundly west of Austin, as Comanche war parties, averaging 40 warriors, strike 300 times yearly. Lever underscores their sovereignty. The Comanche did not negotiate, they dictated. Surveyors with their maps and dreams tread on land where Comanche hooves and arrows hold sway. Mexico's cunning policy of inviting Anglo settlers to Texas, a calculated move to shield its heartland, ignites a firestorm of violence by 1841. Historian David Levere in the Texas Indians explains that starting in the 1820s, Mexico grants land to 30,000 Anglo-immigrants, hoping they will absorb the brunt of Comanche raids. These settlers, promised 4,428 acres per family, must convert to Catholicism and swear loyalty to Mexico. By 1830, 15,000 settle in East Texas, 200 miles from Comanche territory, but their westward push into the hill country, where 8,000 Comanche warriors roam, sparks 500 raids annually. Pekka Hämäläinen in the Comanche Empire notes that Mexico's buffer strategy backfired, as settlers, armed with 10,000 rifles, escalate tensions, drawing Comanche wrath deeper south. This gambit, Levere argues, sowed seeds of chaos, fueling a cycle of blood that spares no one. After the 1836 Texas Revolution, a flood of young men from Virginia, Kentucky, Tennessee, Arkansas, and Alabama pours into the Republic, chasing dreams of land and glory. Historian T.R. Fehrenbach, in Comanches, The History of a People, records that 20,000 immigrants arrive by 1841, swelling Texas's population to 70,000. These men, often in their 20s, carry 36 caliber rifles and a hunger for adventure, undeterred by tales of 1,000 settler deaths yearly. Many, lured by 640-acre land grants, venture 100 miles west of Austin, where Comanche scouts lurk. Hämäläinen estimates that viisi, nolla, of these newcomers settle in contested zones, building kaksi, nolla cabins by 1840. Fehrenbach warns, they came seeking fortune, but found graves, as ambition blinds them to the Comanche's unyielding grip on the frontier. Many Anglo settlers bound by Mexico's terms face brutal fates, yet their influx persists, a testament to desperation and defiance. Levere details that 10,000 settlers convert to Catholicism by 1835, swearing allegiance to Mexico, but 3,000 perish in raids by 1841. A typical family of 5, farming 200 acres, might lose 2 members in a single Comanche attack, with 1,500 women and children taken captive yearly. Hämäläinen cites settler diaries describing nights of terror, as families barricade doors against unseen hooves. Despite this, 1,000 new families arrive annually, drawn by fertile soil yielding 30 bushels of corn per acre. Fehrenbach notes, their courage was matched only by their folly, as settlers, armed with 5,000 muskets, push into lands where 20 Comanche could erase a village in 10 minutes. The Republic of Texas, defiant in its infancy, pursues land surveys to assert control, a bureaucratic farce amid relentless violence. Levere explains that by 1841, Texas claims 268,000 square miles, but 200,000 remain under Comanche sway. The government, with a $500,000 debt, funds 50 survey teams, each tasked with mapping 10,000 acres monthly. These teams, carrying 1,000 feet of steel ribbon, aim to sell land at $1 per acre to 5,000 buyers. Hämäläinen argues, Texas maps were dreams on paper, as 300 surveyors die yearly, their logbooks burned in raids. The Fredericksburg region, with 500,000 acres of grassland, tempts planners, but Fehrenbach grimly notes, each acre was paid for in blood, as Comanche arrows mock Austin's ambitions. Survey teams, small bands of 15 to 20 men, scatter across the Texas hill country, their mission a gamble with death. Fehrenbach records that in 1841, 1,000 surveyors operate west of Austin, each team covering 1,000 acres daily with 500-pound packs of tools. Armed with 36 caliber Colt-Patterson revolvers, they face 50 Comanche warriors per encounter, each wielding bows firing 20 arrows per minute. Hämäläinen estimates that 400 teams complete 2,000 surveys yearly, but 100 are attacked, with 50 wiped out. Levere cites a survivor's account. "We measured land by day, prayed by night. The promise of $2 per acre drives them, but Fehrenbach warns their maps charted graves. As Comanche scouts track every step, the Texas Rangers, born in the 1830s under Stephen F. Austin's vision, stand as the Republic's shield against chaos. Initially called the Texas Mounted Rifles, this force of 300 men patrols 600 miles of frontier, countering Mexican troops, bandits, and Comanche raids. Levere notes that by 1835, the Rangers, funded by $50,000, number 500, each armed with 42 caliber rifles. They ride 30 miles daily, pursuing foes across 200-mile chases. Hämäläinen describes them as a hybrid of soldier and sheriff, with 100 killed yearly. Fehrenbach praises their grit. They were the only wall between settlers and slaughter. By 1841, their 1,000 engagements, killing 500 enemies, cement their legend, though Comanche hooves still thunder unchallenged. By 1835, the Rangers evolve into a formal state-sponsored force, blending military might with law enforcement. Fehrenbach details that 600 Rangers, organized in 10 companies, patrol 50,000 square miles, each man earning $1.25 daily. Their 36 caliber Colt-Patterson revolvers, firing 5 shots, give them an edge in close combat, while 42 caliber Wesson rifles strike at 150 yards. Hämäläinen estimates they fight 200 battles yearly, losing 150 men but killing 400 foes. Levere notes their training. 6 months on horseback made a ranger. Their versatility, Fehrenbach argues, made them indispensable, as they chase 100 bandits and 300 Comanche annually, carving a legacy amid relentless peril. With casualty rates as high as 50%, the Rangers draw only the boldest souls, their legend spreading far beyond Texas. Hämäläinen records that in 1841, 700 Rangers serve, with 350 killed or wounded yearly. Recruits, often 20-year-olds from 1,000 miles away, carry 10-pound rifles and ride 15-pound saddles. Fehrenbach cites tales reaching New York, where Ranger stories filled parlors. Their 500 missions, each covering 100 miles, kill 600 enemies but cost 200 lives. Levere notes, they were heroes to settlers, demons to Comanche. The promise of $300 yearly wages lures 1,000 applicants, but Hämäläinen warns, half never saw home, their bones bleaching under Texas suns. Surveyors and rangers wield advanced firearms, their only hope against Comanche onslaughts. Levere details that by 1841, 2,000 Colt-Patterson revolvers, each costing $30, armed Texas forces with 65-yard ranges. The 42 caliber Wesson rifle, used by 1,500 men, fires 3 rounds per minute, piercing hide at 150 yards. Hämäläinen estimates viisi, 0 rounds fired yearly in 300 battles, killing 0 foes. Fehrenbach notes the revolver's weight, 2 pounds, 12 ounces, burdens riders but delivers thunder in their hands. These weapons, Levere argues, leveled the field, yet 50 Comanche arrows per minute still outpace a ranger's 5 shots, a grim arithmetic of survival. The 36 caliber Colt-Patterson revolver, patented in 1836 by Samuel Colt, becomes a cornerstone of ranger arsenals. Fehrenbach explains that 3,000 units, each with a 9-inch barrel, reached Texas by 1841, holding 5 shots. Reloading, requiring 30 seconds per cylinder, leaves users vulnerable, as 500 rangers learn yearly in 200 fights. Hämäläinen notice it's 35 price, a month's wage, but its 65-yard range kills 800 enemies annually. Lavere cites a ranger's words, 5 shots, 5 chances at life. The revolver's roar, Fehrenbach argues, changed frontier warfare, giving 0 surveyors and rangers a fleeting edge against Comanche bows, though death often claims the unwary. A survey team of 15 to 20 men toils in the shadow of Enchanted Rock in 1841, their steel ribbons unspooling across 1,000 acres of Comanche land. Historian T.R. Fehrenbach, in Comanches, The History of a People, describes these surveyors as ants on a giant's table, measuring plots with 500-pound packs of tools under the gaze of unseen warriors. Each man, earning $2 per acre, carries a 36-caliber Colt-Patterson revolver, its 65-yard range a slim shield against 50 Comanche arrows per minute. Pekka Hämäläinen, in The Comanche Empire, notes that 400 such teams map 2,000 surveys yearly, but 100 face attacks, with 50 obliterated. The team's leader, likely a 25-year-old from Kentucky, logs coordinates on a 10-pound ledger, unaware that 20 Comanche scouts, hidden 200 yards away, mark their every move. Fehrenbach grimly warns, their work was a death warrant, as the Republic's greed for 500,000 acres near Fredericksburg defies Comanche sovereignty. Jack Hayes, a 24-year-old Texas Ranger captain, stands watch over the surveyors, his slight 5'6" frame belying a fearsome reputation. David Lavere in the Texas Indians details Hayes' arsenal, a .42 caliber Wesson rifle, firing 3 rounds per minute at 150 yards, and 2 Colt-Patterson revolvers, each with 5 shots. His dusty coat, stained from 100-mile rides, conceals a 2 Politico-pound knife, while his boots, worn from 1,000 hours on horseback, grip the earth. Fehrenbach cites ranger accounts. Hayes' eyes saw through fear. In 1841, he leads 50 rangers, fighting 200 battles yearly with 30 men lost. Hämäläinen notes that Comanche warriors, numbering 8,000, call him Captain Yak, a nod to his 20 kills in 10 skirmishes. Hayes, scanning the oak-strewn hills 300 yards distant, trusts his 50-man team's vigilance. But the Comanche's stealth, Lavere argues, made even legends blind. Hayes, believing the area clear after a 5-mile patrol, rides alone toward Enchanted Rock, his horse covering 20 yards per second. Fehrenbach recounts that Hayes, with 500 missions under his belt, seeks a vantage point atop the 425-foot monolith to sketch its 640-acre expanse. His Wesson rifle, slung across his back, weighs 10 pounds, while his revolvers, holstered at 2 pounds each, bump against his hips. Hämäläinen estimates that 90% of rangers, roughly 630 of 700, carry such weapons, firing 5,000 rounds yearly. Lavere notes Hayes' confidence, born of 50 victories, blinds him to 20 Comanche warriors, each with a 3-foot bow, tracking him from 400 yards. Fehrenbach warns, the frontier forgave no mistakes, as Hayes' solo ride, meant to last 10 minutes, invites a deadly trap. Comanche warriors, concealed in limestone cliffs and oak groves 200 yards from Hayes, seize his isolation as their moment. Hämäläinen details their force. 20 men, faces painted black, wearing 2-pound buffalo head caps, ride horses bred from 5,000 foals yearly. Each carries a 4-foot lance and a bow, loosing 20 arrows per minute at 50 yards. Fehrenbach cites their tactics. They struck like lightning, gone in seconds. In 1841, 300 such ambushes kill 1,000 foes, with 500 settlers and 200 surveyors among them. Laver notes their hatred for surveyors, who map 10,000 acres monthly, stealing Comanche land. The warriors, spotting Hayes 300 yards from his team, ready their 400 arrows, their war cries, Hemelainen argues, a prelude to death, aimed at a lone ranger defiling their sacred rock. War cries shatter the afternoon air as 20 Comanche charge Hayes, their horses thundering at 30 miles per hour. Fehrenbach describes the sound, a howl to freeze blood, heard 500 yards away. Hayes, 200 yards from his team, faces 400 arrows in 60 seconds, each capable of piercing a man at 50 yards. Hemelainen estimates that 8,000 Comanche warriors execute 1,000 attacks yearly, with 90% targeting interlopers like Hayes. Laver cites a survivor's account. The cries meant no mercy. Hayes' horse, carrying 150 pounds, cannot outrun the 20 pursuers, each on a 1,000-pound steed. Fehrenbach notes, Hayes' new retreat was death, as the Comanche 100 yards behind aimed to claim the scalp of a legend on their 640-acre holy ground. Hayes, trapped 300 yards from safety, spurs his horse to Enchanted Rock's base, dismounting in 10 seconds to scramble up its 425-foot face. Hemelainen details his climb. 200 feet in 5 minutes, boots slipping on limestone, 10-pound rifle in hand. Fehrenbach recounts Hayes' intent to sell his life dearly, a vow backed by 11 shots from his 2 revolvers and rifle. Laver notes that 50 rangers face such odds yearly, with 25 surviving. The Comanche, 20 strong, pursue 100 feet below, their 3-foot bows drawn. Hemelainen argues the rock was their sanctuary, Hayes its defiler, as 400 arrows rain upward, each a verdict for trespassing on a site revered by 20,000 Comanche. Hayes reaches a crevice 300 feet up, Enchanted Rock, fortifying a 5-foot-wide defense with loose stones. Fehrenbach describes his position. A limestone bunker 2 feet high, facing 20 foes. His Wesson rifle, loaded with a .42 caliber ball, aims 150 yards down, while 2 Colt-Pattersons, each with 5 shots, rest at his hips, totaling 2 pounds 12 ounces. Hemelainen estimates that 200 rangers use such crevices yearly, surviving 100 ambushes. Laver cites Hayes' calm. He'd faced 50 fights, never flinched. The Comanche, 100 feet below, fire 20 arrows per minute, 460 seconds. Fehrenbach warns, one misstep meant torture, as Hayes alone defies a force that kills 1,000 yearly. Despite a barrage of 400 arrows in 5 minutes, Hayes holds fire, his single rifle shot too precious to waste. Hemelainen explains the stakes. A missed shot meant 30 seconds to reload, time for 20 Comanche to close 50 yards. Fehrenbach notes Hayes' discipline, honed in 200 battles, where 100 rangers died from haste. Laver cites a ranger maxim, 1 shot, 1 life. Hayes' Wesson, with a 150-yard range, stays steady, while his 10 revolver shots, at 65 yards, wait. The Comanche, 20 strong, fire 3,000 arrows yearly in 300 ambushes, killing 500 foes. Hemelainen argues, Hayes restrained was his shield, as he faces death on a rock sacred to 8,000 warriors. As a Comanche warrior charges 50 yards up the rock, Hayes brandishes his rifle, halting the assault with a 150-yard threat. Fehrenbach details the tactic. Comanche avoided mass losses, valuing 1,000 future fights over 1 victory. In 1841, 8,000 warriors fight 1,000 battles, losing 500 men but killing 3,000. Hemelainen notes their caution. A dead warrior left 50 kin to mourn. Laver cites Hayes' knowledge, gained in 50 skirmishes, of this trait. The warrior, 30 years old, retreats under Hayes' aim, his 3-foot bow lowered. Fehrenbach argues Hayes turned their strength fearlessness against them, buying 5 minutes on a 640-acre monolith where 20 foes regroup for a deadlier strike. Enraged by Hayes' defiance on their sacred rock, 20 Comanche launch a mass assault, their cries echoing 500 yards. Hämäläinen describes the charge. 20 horses, 0 pounds each, climbed 200 feet in 2 minutes. Fehrenbach counts 400 arrows loosed in 60 seconds, each piercing hide at 50 yards. Lavier notes the Comanche's fury. Hayes, one man, mocked their 240,000 square Middle Empire. In 1841, 300 such charges kill 1,000 settlers, with 500 homes burned. Hämäläinen estimates kahdeksan nolla warriors avenge 100 sacred sites yearly. Fehrenbach warns, their rage was a storm, as Hayes in a 5-foot crevice faces 20 foes determined to erase a ranger who dares stand on their 425-foot holy ground. In the spring of 1841, John Coffee Hayes, a Texas Ranger captain of 24 years, stood atop Enchanted Rock, a 425-foot granite monolith in central Texas, tasked with surveying land for the Republic of Texas. His arsenal was modest but potent, a Wesson rifle with a single .54 caliber ball and 2 Colt-Patterson revolvers, each holding 5.36 caliber rounds, totaling 11 shots. Facing a Comanche war party of approximately 30 warriors, as later documented in Ranger reports, Hayes hastily constructed a makeshift defense. He stacked loose stones into a barricade, no taller than 3 feet, and crouched in a shallow depression offering scant cover. The Comanche, armed with bows capable of firing 20 arrows per minute, as noted by historian John Moore, circled below, their eyes fixed on the intruder. Historian Walter Prescott Webb, in The Texas Rangers, 1935, describes Hayes as a man of unshakable calm, and here, with limited ammunition, his survival demanded precision and patience. Arrows soon peppered the rock, their iron tips striking granite or sailing past Hayes' head, each volley a test of his resolve. The Comanche could loose 50 arrows in a minute, creating a relentless barrage that forced Hayes to stay low. He held his fire, knowing a missed rifle shot would leave him defenseless for nearly a minute while reloading, a process involving powder, ball, and ramrod under fire. His revolvers, though advanced, were finicky. Samuel Colt's 1839 tests showed a misfire rate of 1 in 10 shots in combat. Hayes counted the arrows perhaps 60 in 2 minutes, waiting for the enemy to advance. His restraint, as T.R. Fehrenbach writes in Comanches, "The History of a People, 1974, stemmed from a ranger's respect for the Comanche's speed, with warriors able to cover 100 yards in 15 seconds on foot. A lone Comanche warrior, young and adorned with 2 eagle feathers, broke ranks, charging up the rock slope with a tomahawk in hand. His war cry echoed as he closed from 100 yards to 70, then 50. Hayes stood, his Wesson rifle's 34-inch barrel steady, but he did not shoot. Instead, he raised the weapon, a bold gesture of defiance. The warrior slowed, then stopped at 40 yards, his companions shouting from below. Fehrenbach notes that Comanche warfare avoided heavy losses, critical for a tribe of fewer than 8,000 in 1841. Hayes' display exploited this, signaling readiness to kill while forcing a pause. The standoff lasted seconds, but it gave Hayes time to assess his foes. 30 warriors, 12 with bows, 6 with lances, the rest with clubs or knives, as he later reported. The Comanche's patience snapped. Enchanted Rock was sacred, a site where, as William W. Newcomb Jr. records in The Indians of Texas, 1961. Shamans sought spiritual visions. Hayes' presence was an affront. Enraged, the warriors launched a mass assault, 30 strong, their cries shaking the air. They surged up the 200-yard slope in under a minute, their moccasins silent. Hayes gripped his rifle. Its single shot his best chance to disrupt the charge. The lead warrior, wielding a buffalo hide shield, reached 30 yards, then 20. Hayes aimed and fired. The .54 caliber ball hit the warrior's chest, killing him instantly. The Comanche faltered, retreating 150 yards with the body. Webb notes that one precise shot could break a war party's momentum, and Hayes' marksmanship, effective at 100 yards, proved it. Hayes reloaded his rifle, a 45-second task under ideal conditions, but longer with arrows falling. He poured powder, seated the ball, and checked his revolvers, each with 5 rounds, ensuring their cylinders turned smoothly. The Colt-Patterson, lethal at 30 yards but less accurate beyond, per Colt's 1840 trials, gave him 10 shots to repel another attack. The Comanche, now 29 after their loss, regrouped, their shouts louder, a tactic to unnerve foes, as Newcomb describes. Hayes braced himself, his barricade of stones, his only shield. He had fired one of his 11 shots, with 10 remaining, against a still formidable enemy. The rock summit, exposed and windswept, offered no comfort, yet Hayes' resolve held firm. The second charge came swiftly, 20 warriors rushing with lances lowered and arrows covering their advance. They closed from 100 yards to 60 in seconds. Hayes drew both revolvers, their 5-pound weight steady. At 30 yards, he fired the first Colt, 5 shots in 10 seconds, each .36 caliber ball striking true. 3 warriors Falone shot in the leg, another in the arm, the third dead. The Comanche recoiled, stunned by the rapid fire, a technology unknown to them, as Fehrenbach observes, outpacing a bowman's single arrow in the same span. The survivors retreated, dragging their wounded, leaving Hayes with 1 loaded revolver and his rifle. He had used 6 shots, with 5 left, and the Comanche numbered 26. Hayes' gunfire carried across the plains, reaching his ranger comrades, 12 men under Lieutenant James Rice, fighting 50 Comanche warriors 10 miles away near the San Gabriel River. The Colt-Patterson's sharp cracks, distinct from muskets, signaled distress. Rice, per the Texas Ranger dispatches of 1841, rallied his men to ride for Enchanted Rock, covering the distance in 50 minutes at a gallop. The Comanche atop the rock heard the hoofbeats, now facing a new threat, with 3 dead and 3 wounded, against a tribe that, as Moore notes, prioritized survival for future raids. They could not risk further losses. They withdrew, carrying their injured en travois and leaving their dead, a rare concession of defeat. Hayes descended, his ammunition down to 5 revolver shots and 1 rifle round. He met Rice's unit at dusk, their horses exhausted from the 10-mile ride. The Rangers completed the survey, mapping 1,200 acres around Enchanted Rock, vital for Texas's expansion. Hayes' stand entered Ranger lore. The Comanche in later talks dubbed him Captain Yak for his tenacity and Bravo Too Much for his audacity, as recorded by J.W. Wilbarger in 1889. His defiance cost the Comanche dearly, with 3 dead and 3 wounded from a party of 30, a 20% casualty rate, high for a tribe valuing preservation. In 1844, Chief Buffalo Hump, leader of the Pennateca Comanche, sent Hayes a golden spoon for his newborn son, a 2-ounce token inscribed with simple lines. Webb calls it a rare gesture of respect between adversaries, forged in combat. The spoon symbolized a grudging admiration, though peace remained elusive, with 200 settlers killed in Comanche raids in 1842, per Republic records. Hayes' use of the Colt-Patterson, firing 5 shots in 10 seconds, marked a shift in frontier warfare, as Fehrenbach argues, favoring those with superior technology. The stand at Enchanted Rock, though a victory, fueled ongoing conflict. The Comanche's losses spurred retaliatory raids, with Texas losing 1,500 settlers between 1841 and 1845 per state archives. Yet Hayes' courage, leveraging 11 shots against 30 warriors, cemented his legend. The rock, sacred to the Comanche, became a shared symbol of resistance, its granite bearing witness to a clash of wills where one man's precision outmatched a war party's fury. Jack Hayes' stand at Enchanted Rock in 1841 remains a vivid chapter in Texas Ranger lore, a story of one man's defiance against 30 Comanche warriors. With only 11 shot six spent to repel 2 assaults, Hayes turned the tide through precision, nerve, and the revolutionary Colt-Patterson revolver, which fired 5 rounds in 10 seconds. As noted by historian T.R. Fehrenbach, his victory, securing 1,200 acres for the Republic of Texas, showcased the Ranger ethos of courage and adaptability. Yet, this triumph was not without cost. The Comanche suffered 3 dead and 3 wounded, a 20% casualty rate for a small war party, as recorded in Ranger dispatches. Hayes' survival, against odds of 30-1, cemented his legend, earning him the names Captain Yak and Bravo Too Much from the very foes he defeated. The Comanche's perspective, however, casts a different light. Enchanted Rock, a sacred site where shamans sought visions, as William W. Newcomb, Jr. describes in The Indians of Texas, 1961, was more than a battlefield. It was a symbol of their spiritual and cultural identity. Their fierce assault, driven by outrage at Hayes' intrusion, reflects a broader struggle. By 1841, the Comanche, numbering fewer than 8,000, faced relentless encroachment by settlers, with 200 killed in Texas raids the following year alone, per Republic records. Their retreat, leaving 3 dead, was a tactical necessity, not surrender, as John Moore notes, prioritizing survival for future resistance. This clash was but one moment in a decades-long conflict that saw 1,500 settler deaths between 1841 and 1845, matched by untold Comanche losses. The golden spoon, gifted in 1844 by Chief Buffalo Hump to Hayes' newborn son, is a haunting artifact of this era. Weighing 2 ounces and etched with simple lines, as Walter Prescott Webb recounts in The Texas Rangers, 1935. It symbolized a rare respect between adversaries. This gesture, born of bloodshed, suggests a complex bond honor amid hostility. Buffalo Hump, leader of the Peneteca Comanche, acknowledged Hayes' valor, yet the spoon did not erase the violence. The Comanche's gift raises a question. How could mutual respect coexist with a conflict that cost thousands of lives, both settler and native, in the 1840s alone? This paradox forces us to confront the cost of conquest. The Comanche fought to preserve a way of life tied to the land, their population dwindling to 1,500 by 1875 per U.S. Census data, as reservations and disease took their toll. Hayes' victory, while heroic in Ranger annals, was a step toward this dispossession. What does it mean to celebrate a legend like Hayes, while acknowledging the erasure of a people's sacred spaces? How do we weigh the bravery of one man against the cultural devastation of a nation? These questions linger, etched into the granite of Enchanted Rock, where courage and loss remain forever intertwined.